What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with yet another review, and this time I am talking about the latest offering from Oxygen Destroyer with Guardian of the Universe. This also came out on August 9th, this time on Redefining Darkness, and, well, this is the band's third album overall, and this is my first experience with this band. I've been hearing this name come up here and there in broader metal circles, but never really gave them a shot until this new album. And yeah, they're based out of Seattle and Portland. They're kind of like split in between both cities. And yeah, this is some old school death metal mixed with thrash metal and black metal. So honestly, you can just call this blackened death thrash. I think that's probably more appropriate. And I was not ready for the onslaught of riffs upon riffs upon riffs upon riffs upon riffs upon riffs that this album was going to deliver into my brain. We start off with the title track, Guardian of the Universe, The Final Hope. Now, one thing that I guess I have to kind of understand with this band is that all their lyrics are based on kaiju films like Godzilla and such. So I didn't quite get the samples until understanding what was going on with the lyrical themes. So yeah, you get these like kaiju samples across the board, but after the opening sample, straight into death metal tremolos and blast beats that feel like old school death metal, but then you do get some more black metal tremolos that get peppered in here on this track as well. You get some like really cool like thrashy double time, almost like Vader. Like there's some Vader nods all over this album here and there. And then what I will say, the vocals, I actually really like the vocals on this album. They kind of like border in between like higher death metal vocals and black metal vocals. Like they kind of border both sides of the coin. Maybe almost like 80s Mila Petrosa from Creator. And not only that, but musically there's a lot of like Pleasure to Kill era Creator vibes all throughout the album in terms of the riffs and the rhythms. It's all over the map. But as the song continues, then it gets more into standard thrash metal, kind of like Exodus a little bit, before it settles into a more lumbering groove. Lead work, whenever leads do pop up, they're pretty shreddy. Like, that's all about just the chaos and the speed and the precision that these guys are going for when it comes down to the execution of these leads as well as riffs and rhythms. Drawing power from the empathetic priestess. So yeah, be prepared to hear some long-winded mouthful song titles, but this song goes for absolute chaos and just fast and furious pummeling brutality, kind of like Angel Corpse a little bit. And there are a couple of songs where I'm like, am I listening to Angel Corpse all of a sudden? Because it's like that peculiar balance between black metal, thrash metal, and death metal. Then into the song Shadow of Evil. This is one of the few songs where you do properly get some black metal elements, particularly in the tremolos and the blast, but then it turns into Pleasure to Kill era Creator riffs, like almost like I'm hearing like elements of songs like Command of the Blade, Ripping Corpse, the title track, just kind of peppered in here. Like, again, this whole album gave me nods to Pleasure to Kill a little bit. But even some harmonized tremolo riffs come up here as well. Thy Name is Legion feels like now this time they bring in Morbid Saint influences, like the first album, Spectrum of Death. It's like you're getting some of those nods coming in on this track, and even a couple more songs as the album continues. And then, here we go with a mouthful. Eradicating the symbiotic hive mind entity from beyond the void. That was a long one. But it's just non-stop fury when it comes down to the riffs and the speed. But dare I say, another band kind of gets peppered in here, and that's Hellwitch, which I just saw Hellwitch play live over a week ago in Cincinnati, and they killed it. This kind of gave me nods to like the first album a little bit, because it's got a little more of technical play going on with the guitars. Like, the guitar work seems to be a little more complicated on this track, but then it does get into more of those like hardcore inspired lumbering grooves, kind of like Gate Creeper or Frozen Soul, bands like that. Nightmarish Visions of the Devil's Envoy. This one feels very much like old school death metal and early death thrash mixed together. Like, you get death metal blast beats, but you get more like thrashy machine gun riffs and then some death metal chug, kind of like, again, Angel Corpse. Awaking the malevolent destroyer of the heavens and earth. This one, I think, is the most proper death metal song on the entire album. Like, the tremolos and the triplet chugging and rhythms, old school Morbid Angel vibes. Like, I'm thinking to myself, we're getting into some real old school territory here with Morbid Angel style tremolos and triplet rhythms. Then it gets back into some lumbering grooves, you get more samples, and then the vocals take on more death roars as opposed to like the more black metal high-end thrash delivery. And then Banishing the Iris of Sempiternal Tenebrosity, I think I got that right. Big triplet chug and blast beat. Vocal flips, like you get all these vocal changes, like he's sounding like a black metal singer and then he turns into death roars. It's like big vocal flips, like black metal and death metal and black metal, death metal. More lumbering grooves, and then it gets into probably the fastest moment on the entire album, hyper blasts, which make me think of Cryptopsy, Brutal Truth, like bands that do that more hyper blast drum style. And then the closing track, Exterminating the Ravenous Horde of Perpetual Darkness and Annihilation. Oh, that was a mouthful there, but this one kind of has some of the catchiest moments on the entire album. Like, you get a big groove and riffs, and it's catchy and brutal, and it feels kind of like perhaps bands like Cannibal Corpse, Deicide, or even like modern bands like Skeletal Remains and Blood Red Throne. But then it does get back into more like death thrash territory. But again, you get some like cool harmonies on the lead section. So yeah, this album's all over the map when it comes down to the influences. Like, you get occasional black metal, lots of thrash, lots of death metal on here too. And of course, like, when it comes down to the guitar work, it's varied all over the map, but it's all about furious chaos. As far as anything to really nitpick on here, perhaps maybe some of the songs kind of run together because they're just all about that speed and furious nature that perhaps it leads to some of these songs kind of having some similarities to it. So there wasn't a whole lot except for like whenever they pepper in like black metal moments or like groovy moments, or in that final track where it wasn't just all about speed, they were able to incorporate more standard big grooves. But for the style they're going for, they are executing it quite well. So for those reasons, I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. I thought this was a great listen, and it's short, sweet, to the point. It's only 33 plus minutes, and the songs do pack a punch. But yeah, it's just all out chaos, all out speed. What more do you want me to say? But of course, those are just my opinions. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thank you for watching. Keep your horns high and your dreams wet.
Thank you for your patronage.